Vanquish is one of those very interesting titles, guys. I mean, one of the most intriguing action third-person shooters, guys, that I've ever played. I mean, there were some really interesting concepts that were in this game that we still haven't seen to this day. It kind of reminds me a little bit like Time Shift. Time Shift was one of those games that, guys, that there hasn't been any games nowadays that were made like Time Shift. And I think the same can be said with Vanquish. There's just so many different things about this title that was beyond its time, but at the same time, it was definitely very innovative and an interesting game to say the least. That being said, though, whatever happened to Vanquish? Is this a title that we could be getting, a sequel to at some point or another? Or is this game just going to be that one-hit wonder that it was? Let's talk about it. So, guys, this is a title that came out in 2010, was developed by Platinum Games and published by Sega. I think, something that we have to, you got to put everything into context. The two major things, of course, that can either continue a franchise or end a franchise is the reception, of course, but also the sales. So let's look at both of those things here with Vanquish. And that way we can talk about, could this be something we get into the future? Well, guys, according to Metacritic, 84 out of 100 on PS3, and then 84 out of 100 on Xbox 360. That's pretty good, if not pretty great, for a very, very beginning title in what you would hope would be a long-withstanding franchise. Now, we look at, some of these other, of course, review scores that came out. Game Informer gave it a 7.75 out of 10. You had IGN giving it 8.5 out of 10. GameSpot, 9 out of 10. The worst one on here, guys, was Destructoid. They gave it a 5 out of 10. But outside of that, you're getting all, upper numbers here when it comes to, 7.75s out of 10 and B pluses and 9 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. What I'm getting at is these are pretty good reviews when you consider it's a very beginning title for what, like I said, you would hope would be a long-withstanding franchise. So that's part one, is the review scores and the reception of the title. Now, let's go ahead and let's talk about the sales. So the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions of the game respectively debuted at number 4 with 48,318 units and number 14, 11,204 units on Japanese sales charts during their release week. By February 2011, the game had sold 820,000 copies worldwide. By March 2011, the game had sold 830,000 copies worldwide on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 platforms. By July 1st, 2018, the PC version had approximately 143,289 players, and as of December 2018, Steam Spy estimates that the game had sold over 200,000 copies on Steam alone. So, look, when you look at that, that's pretty good. I would say that obviously it didn't quite get to 1 million copies, but if you take what Steam had as far as the Steam copies, then you're looking at over 1 million copies sold. Approximately over 143,000 players, though, guys, on PC version, and this is back in 2018, not that long ago, for a game that came out in 2010. Unbelievable. This won awards, guys. We look at the critical reception. Many reviewers praised the game's visuals, gameplay, innovation, fast-paced, and over-the-top style, though some also criticized its short length, lack of multiplayer, and mediocre plot, and as well as the corny dialogue. So, let me talk about that for a moment, guys, because I think it's really important to put into context here that with a game like Vanquish, I don't believe that it needed to necessarily have multiplayer right away and co-op modes and all these other ways that you could connect with the game outside of the single-player story. It's the first of its kind in this franchise, and you think of all the big franchises that when they first started, Call of Duty, and the list can go on of all these different titles that started as one thing and have evolved to another. And I feel like Vanquish, it was this initial concept. It was this idea of this really, innovative, fast-paced style game that could very well have evolved into, Vanquish 2 with multiplayer modes, co-op modes, and a longer story, things of that nature. I just feel that they gave up on this title too soon. That was the way that I look at it, guys, because when we're looking at You got 143,000, players back in 2018. That's a really nice, that's a healthy number of people that are playing the game still to this day. And so what I'm getting at is I think that there's a real need for this game, but I also think that obviously Sega and Platinum Games, I really believe, guys, that we as the fan base have to be the ones voicing our opinion to the developers and the publishers that we want this title made. We want a Vanquish 2. We want that sequel to finally come out. There were rumors and rumblings that Vanquish 2 was being made, but we have not heard anything further about it at this point in time. I believe that we as a community have to voice it into existence, guys, and really get the developers and publishers to move on it, because I think there's still a lot of people that are enjoying this title, that are still playing it to this day. And I think it could be really special. Even if they came out with like a remake or like a remaster, something of that nature to really lead us into Vanquish 2, I think would be fine as well, to really see if that fan base is still there. But nonetheless, guys, I would love to see a Vanquish 2. I think that they could really up the ante when it comes to the innovation. I would love to see them up that innovation, up the fast pace, up the length of the title, up that of, everything, the multiplayer co-op modes. I think they could really do some really special things here if they made a second game. But that's one man's opinions. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about Vanquish 2? Is this a title that should come out or a title that should stay in a limbo state, guys? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Vanquish 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.